Dotty? You gonna make some beats, Dot? Are you gonna make some beats, Dot? Dotty, shall we make some beats? Hello and welcome to Mastering in Logic's guide to redesigning or reworking a studio. So why did I do this in the first place? Well, basically at the beginning of the year I wanted to redesign the studio so that the studio could work better for me. One, so that I could be more creative, that's the most important thing, and two, so that I could have a space that would allow me to work quickly. And also I wanted to utilize my audio interface and make the most of it. Be able to use its reamping functions, being able to use the soft keys so that I can flip from stereo to mono. I can use the dim switch so that I can leave the volume dial at the correct level for my room and not have to constantly change it. The other thing I wanted to do was make use of my pedals, but be able to get to the pedals by just clicking a few buttons and start using them. The Neutron, the same thing, the analog synthesizer, be able to just at a click of a button have it coming up and running back into Logic. If you have a space, whatever your space is like, think about how is this space working for you. Do you have a mic set up permanently so that you can sing into your mic or you can play an instrument into your mic and that spark of an idea? You don't want it to be interrupted. You want to be able to just keep going, because trust me, if you get pulled away from the creative process, that's when you can start to lose that gem of an idea. It's all about capturing those ideas in the moment. So I hope you find this video helpful. I hope it gives you some ideas about how you could maybe just make small tweaks about where something is in your room that you're reaching for that will make your work life, your work much easier and quicker, and also maybe make it more creative, or helping you to be more creative at the same time. So check out the video. If you've not subscribed, I'd be hugely grateful if you hit the subscribe button. If you want to know when I've got videos coming up, hit the bell button too, and you'll never miss a video from me. So enjoy, thanks for watching. So it's day I don't know what, and I'm going to show you what the final studio looks like. This is basically it. Apologies for the camera if it makes noises as it's trying to focus. But this is really what the finished product is. You can see I've got that shelf at the top with the speakers. I've got two nice lights sitting on the end which give a really nice glow. I can still see out the window for inspiration when I can't find any inspiration. I've got my controller keyboard, and then to the left down here is the rack cabinet. I'm really pleased with how this has come out. The company are really good in the way they helped me get this thing looking as brand new. I mean, it was brand new, it's just it was unfortunately damaged when the courier dropped it off, or probably dropped it, which is what broke it. You can see the legs. I think the legs look really funky and they go really well with the pedal board as well. And here's the pedal board, and I've got all my pedals on there now, as well as the Neutron. And every guitar player's essential toolkit. This came with the Ibanez, and this as well. Hey, if you're a guitar player and you don't know about this stuff, highly recommend it. It's called Fret Fast, and it will keep your strings lively much longer, and also it'll help you to play faster as well. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I use the Neutron. So the way I do this is I have the Neutron wired into my compressor and EQ so that I can make use of the EQs, and also it just keeps the Neutron under control. So I use an external instrument, and you can see that here's my other things. I've got the Neutron there, and then the input, I just click on input and it comes in on the Devil. These are the Chandler Little Devils. This is where I reamp to my pedals, and I have a cable that needs to go in here for the reamp, which will be permanently set up, reamping into the Fender Twin. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is how I use Apogee's reamp facility to use my pedals, and it's really quick and easy to do, particularly if you're in mono. So I'm going to take, let's just take an ES1 synth, and why not put a arpeggiator on there, do this classic cycle. So as I play this, so that's just the ES1. What I want to do is tell the ES1 to go out to my pedals. On the stereo out, I click on stereo out, hold, go to output, and at the bottom here I've got mono. I select guitar 1, which is actually output 11 on my interface. So now when I hit play, you won't hear anything because the signal is going out of the Apogee ensemble. So what I need to do now is I click hit audio, and here my pedals come back in on input number 2. So I now do this, okay, so you can see that on my stereo out, I've got stereo out, but the input is input mic 2. So here we go, let's see what this sounds like. Now we can always go crazy with a big muff. So once I've recorded in, what I end up with is a audio version of the virtual instrument. It could be an audio on an audio, but it means that I can blend the two now. So for example, here's just the virtual instrument, and now I can blend the distortion in with it as well. You notice the distortion is coming in and out, and it's because I've done it in real time. I've adjusted the amount as I'm on the fly, if you like. So not only could I set up a particular type of distortion and leave it, I can also actually in real time adjust the dials and knobs as I'm playing around with this, and I create more interesting and unique sounds. If I want to reamp the Fender Twin, that's dead simple. All I do is put the jack into output 12, put the other end into the amp, of course, put a mic in front of the amp, switch the amp on, play the guitar or add a synth, whatever it is that you want to run through the amp. Okay, so the final step is setting everything up in Logic, and we do it in exactly the same way as we did when we reamped the pedals. I'm going to do it slightly differently this time because I want to show you how I do it with a stereo track. So I've got a Alchemy synth which is just playing something like this. Okay, so there's the sound, nothing very interesting, but that's beside the point. So what I have to do here, because I can't get this into mono, because it's a stereo track, and I've set Alchemy up to be in stereo, I need to make sure that I run this to mono. Now, if you know a better way of doing this, please do let me know, but this is the way that I do it. So I hit stereo out, and I set up on a bus, let's say, for example, bus 5, and when bus 5 comes up, you see bus 5 is automatically set up to be in stereo. So what I do now is I set this to mono, so as I play, Logic is now running Alchemy into my bus 5, which is in mono. Now what this now allows me to do is set up the reamp. So I go stereo out, out, here you can see mono, and you can see here I'm on guitar 2, 12, output 12 goes to the amp, output 11 goes to my pedals. So there we go, output 12. Next, audio track. So I set up an audio track, and my mic is coming in on input 1 this time. Pedals go into input 2, arm this, and now all I do is tweak the sound until I'm happy with what I've got. And finally, I re-record back into Logic. If you ever want to go for an EQ, these are really good ones. You get an air band. I have mine set at sort of +6, and then a sub at +6, and I often have this band here, the 1 kilohertz band. I think it's 2.5 kilohertz. I often drop this off because I find it to be a bit too bright, but not always. And then down here, I have my thermionic culture, the Neve, and the Allen Smart compressor, and then just the speaker and the apogee. In the past 2 videos I've talked you through basically why I changed my video. I have a dog barking at me. I think I'm going to have to do this another time. Yeah, that's what you want to do. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how I use my Apogee Ensemble to use the screen sets. What I do is I have set up my A soft key button to allow me to select between A and B. So as I'm playing a part or playing the track, I just hit the soft key here and I allow myself to go from set 1 to set 2. Really simple. Now the great thing about these monitors are the Adams are what we call ribbon tweeters, and the ribbon tweeters are a little bit brighter than the Amphions, so I get a good mixture of a brighter sounding monitor and I don't know, it's not a duller sounding monitor, but it just hasn't got the same kind of fizzy top end as the Adams. It doesn't mean to say one is better than the other, one is more detailed than the other. It's just they're different types of speakers, and I know them both really well. That's the thing. So for me, I can work between the two, and as I switch between So I'm going to show you how I use screen sets in my workflow. So here you can see I've got 3 screens. Just to let you know, I use this is just what I use. You may use something completely different, or this may feel awful for you. I use a trackpad. I really like the trackpad because I can zoom in and out and I can move around quickly. It's also quite useful for editing. I also use one of these as well, a trackball. And I bounce from one to the other. By the way, apologies if you hear the camera sort of zooming in, and also the sound. This is just all done off the cuff really, so you know, I've not set microphones up. It's just so I can give you an overview of everything that I use. The screen sets I think are really handy because they allow you to work really quickly. When I'm kind of in mixing mode, I use the mixer at the bottom with the arrange page at the top. This allows me here to do some editing, but I also have the mixer set up here as well so that I can, you know, quickly go through and mix. With it running across the 2 screens, it makes life really comfortable. I can load up various plugins and move around the screen quite by The other thing that I do is I always have a VU meter. This is called the VUMT by Klanghelm. Klanghelm make really good products. Why do I use a VU meter as opposed to an LUFS meter, especially since I write for TV and I have to deliver at -23 LUFS? Well, I know with a VU meter that it's going to work at the optimum level with my analog gear. -18 is equal to 0 dB VU. That's not peak, that's average, by the way. So I know that all of my analog stuff and my digital stuff is all going to work at a relatively equal level. So because of that, I use a VU meter. I also know roughly at 0 dB what the LUFS level is going to be. So I know where I am with everything. I know what my references are. But I like to use the VU meter because I know if I'm at 0, I can push a little bit past there. It gives me a reference point of 0, but I know I can go over it because, let's face it, we all do that. We all go over. I'm looking at the screen, not the camera. Sorry about that. Right, okay, so there's my mixer, and then as I'm working, you can see, hopefully you can see this, the VU meter's working and I can move around and then just make adjustments. But as I'm playing, if I want to go in and then edit something, rather than, you know, go into the piano roll here, which I might do sometimes, I use screen set 2. I've got the piano roll here and I can stretch this out. I can bring But one of the things that I like about having the piano roll stretched across multiple parts is I can bring multiple parts in at the same time, and I can zoom in and see exactly what I'm doing, what the chord is, what the line is, what the part is, what the motif is. And when I want to look like I know what I'm doing, that's when I use the score page as well. I've got three main ones that I use: the mixer, the piano roll, and the notation page as well. So that's how I use screen sets. Well, that's it. The journey is over. If you'd like to know more about the way I work, if there's any bits of gear that I've got that you'd like me to do a demo on or show you how I work it into my workflow and creative process, just hit me up with a comment below, or you can message me direct if you want to at masteringinlogic.com. You can sign up for some free stuff and then you can send me emails that way. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe and bell button to never miss a video from me. Thanks for watching.